Hey everybody, this is Smart Martha with another Catholic Mom hack. And today we are going to talk about taking care of your religious stuff. I don't know what else to call it. You could call it trash, you could call it garbage, you could say some other unfriendly words, but pretty much all this like religious paraphernalia that we Catholics are very famous for collecting and keeping and treasuring and hoarding and all that kind of thing. You know, as a Catholic, I love my faith, and it seems like I have this weird attachment to, holy cards and crucifixes and rosaries, and maybe some other Catholics out there have that same sort of attachment. And unfortunately, sometimes we Catholics are attached more to the stuff, more like the religion part, instead of the actual faith, instead of that actual relationship that we have with Jesus Christ. But if we do it correctly, these religious items that we have can be used to bring us closer to Christ, and that's what we want, and that's why we want to save them. And in fact, that's going to be our criterion for what we save. So if you look at my stuff, look at all this stuff. Can you believe it? I've been collecting this stuff for a long time, and I think, well, just because it's religious, that I need to keep a hold of it, that I can't get rid of it. And then add to that my kids collect this stuff too. Maybe you have particularly girls, I don't know what it is with that. They'll collect things in the back of church, or maybe ladies will stop you in mass and say, here, have this holy card, or have this little necklace or something. And so I have collected so much of this stuff. And so today what I'm going to talk about is how to handle it. I finally decided, all right, enough is enough. I need to figure out how to sort through this so that I can actually use it. So the first thing I'm asking you to decide is, how are you going to use these? How are you going to use these? Are you going to have them out all the time around your home in different places, which is a wonderful way to do that? It's sort of a more minimalistic approach where you're just going to display what you have. And I think that's wonderful. It's simplistic, and it's just really using what you have. On the other hand, and that can get crazy too. You see people's homes where you walk into it, it's like, I feel like I'm in a really crazy church where there's pictures and things hanging everywhere, But if you love that and that helps you with your relationship to Jesus, then go for it. And if you think that brings you closer to Christ, then go for it. But for the most part, you're just going to find ways to display these throughout the home that will just help you as you're living your life and your family, and the people that come into your home, well, they'll see that and they'll maybe ask you about it, or for them it might just a reminder, I'll pray to that saint. Or, if it's a crucifix, for instance, you'll remember that Jesus died on the cross for me, and, here I am living and being a brat or being mad or whatever. So they do serve as nice reminders. How I have it in my house is, I do have the pictures and crucifixes and stuff like that throughout my house. Not too crazy, but I also have a family altar, which you can watch another YouTube I have about that, where it's just, and for me, it's just a dresser, and I keep particular religious items there, and I try to vary them by the season. And this is a great thing to do. So you have an altar or a shelf. Maybe it's even the mantle of your fireplace where you can rotate some of these things out, and it keeps it fresh. If you have this crucifix in your house that's been there forever, you tend to just ignore it all of the time. It's there, and here's Jesus dying on the cross, but you've seen it a million times, and it doesn't really, it doesn't move you anymore because you've just become complacent. You're used to seeing it there. So that's why it's sometimes good to switch these things up, and that's why I like besides having them throughout the house, I have a particular place in my house, like I said, my family altar, where I can alter some of these pieces and pictures and holy cards and stuff like that. So that's what I've been doing, and I've not been doing it well because, as you can see, I have so much stuff. I just have collected so much stuff. So I am sorting through all of this stuff and deciding what to keep, what to give away. And I've decided that it's going to be, each item has to meet a certain criterion for me. The first thing is that this item is going to bring me closer to Christ somehow. Whether it's a saint I have a devotion to, whether it's a favorite prayer I like to say, whether it's part of a a special rosary that reminds me of somebody else, or a rosary that, you know, we can actually pray and use, whether it's a particular picture of some event in the life of Christ or an event of the church. You know, these things will bring me closer to Christ. So those are the items that I want to keep. And you know, and only so many. You know, I can't use that many reminders practically in a year, you know, or in a lifetime even. I have so many. And if I have too many, then I just keep, you know, it's just too much. I can't use it. It's just a big drawer packed with clutter and stuff. Now, you're going to want to find a place to store all of this stuff that you don't have out on display. And there's many ways you can store this stuff, whether it's a shelf that you use, particularly a bin that could go on a shelf, or like I have drawers that I use in my family altar that I can store this in. So depending on how much space you have to store your stuff, that's going to determine how much stuff you can actually keep. You can't have your drawers or bin packed with the stuff because you can't even look through it to see what you have there. So to you, somebody else, this is all going to be different. If you've made that decision, yes, I'm going to store some, where are you going to store it? And then how easily can you manage that now that it's stored? So now I've got to begin going through all this stuff. And I honestly do not even know where to start. I could, you know, I've got rosaries, so I need to sort through all of my rosaries. I have pictures that I like to put up at different times. So those will be stored away. Also, I have frames that I can slide pictures into. You know, so I have a series of pictures that I'm going to keep that can go into the interchangeable frame. So I'm pretty much going to go through all of this stuff, and I would like to show you what it's going to look like when I'm done. Hey everybody, now I'm back, and I tell you, it's a lot of stuff to go through. One thing I did is I got rid of all my old religious files. I used to keep the pictures and prayers and stories about the saints, all kinds of things in these files. And you know, I don't keep them there anymore. I just keep the pictures, because the prayers and stories, all that information can be accessed online pretty easily. All you have to do is do a search on Google, and you'll find a novena or a prayer for, you know, all the saints and every feast day out there. So I no longer am keeping these. And I got another box of religious stuff that I gave away and donated as well. So how I decided to organize all those pictures instead is with one of these kind of folders. I've just divided it by months. Each tab has, you know, some of the saints' pictures in it, the feast pictures I put out for different feast days. You know, sometimes I'm so busy and I won't bother getting the feast, you know, any pictures out, but some days I'll be like, hey, yay, let's really celebrate the Feast of St. Mark's, for instance, and I'll go to this folder and I'll dig out a picture of St. Mark. And then this will just be kept in the drawer of our family altar. So now I thought we'd take a look at the family altar, or our dresser where we save some of this stuff. Whether you have an altar or not, remember you can be using bins, shelves in a cabinet, or something like that. So I've got it pretty bare right now. I honestly don't put a lot on my family altar. I sort of like a more plain look. And we're coming up on May, so I have my Mary statue out. We'll try to put flowers on this altar throughout May at the Mary statue. I also have, like I mentioned in my other video I did, this is the patron saints of our family, the Martins. So we have, they'll always be out on my altar. But it is the Easter season, so I have the Regina Celli here because, well, we don't know that prayer very good in my family, and so we're trying to learn that prayer better. And so that happens to be in our picture. But this is the picture frame that we use interchangeably with some of the other pictures that I have. And if you'll notice, it's an 8 by 10. But many of the pictures that we have come from those calendars that churches give out for free. So if they have a year where they did saints, you know, throughout the year, I save some of those pictures. But also 8x10s, and it can always go up the other direction. All right, so here's the drawers, and we're going to take a look at this drawer here. I'm keeping our holy cards in this bin here. I'm keeping metals in this one here. I've got our extra rosaries here. Just some other stuff, but I want to save. I've got, you know, I didn't want to get rid of these, but I have extra booklets. And these are to pass out to people if they come and anyone has questions about the faith. And also that if we would be praying together in a group, sometimes there are group prayers in there, and I have enough booklets to pass out, particularly the Stations of the Cross. And I have some rosary pamphlets too. And then also here, this is where I keep our Book of Remembrance. And during November, when it's the month of All Souls, this comes out on our altar. And this is just like a scrapbook where we have family members and friends who have passed away, and it's just a way to remember those particular loved ones and to pray for them. Also in this corner here, you will see blank cards and my gold pen. And these are where we write prayer concerns. And we actually keep these prayer concerns in our prayer bowl right there. And it's just a way of saying, hey, this is our family's prayers that we have. And so if you have a prayer concern and you would like it mentioned, you can write a little card up and stick it in our prayer bowl, and we'll try to go through these. We'll just flip through these cards and pray for those people, sometimes at a meal. But it's just, and having the bowl out on the table is just a way of remembering those people and those concerns in that bowl. Now this is the other drawer in the dresser, and I just have some other pictures in there that I want to keep. You know, I have a Sacred Heart, my Divine Mercy picture, some other size frames, and other plaques that I want to save, and that occasionally I will put out on my altar and in other places in the house. And then finally, I have this last drawer here. This is a bigger drawer. And it's, this is where I keep my statues and my extra candles. On the side of a hutch that I have in my dining room, and you could put this on any wall or any cabinet in any other room, we just have little screws for the rosaries that our family uses. And this keeps them untangled and easy to access. So there you have it. This is how I've organized my religious stuff, if you want to call it that. I'm no longer going to call it clutter because I've got rid of all the stuff that I no longer use. And it's in a way that I can easily access it. So hopefully this will be a blessing to me and my family and to everyone else who comes into my home. Thank you for being with me today.